Hello there. So I recently just bought the game BattleBit Remastered. It's on like 50% off right now on Steam, so I got it for like $7. Decided to try it out. It's pretty fun actually. I never played these styles of games before, like the like large player warfare games like Battlefield or Call of Duty, Ground War, whatever. But it's actually pretty fun. I like it. So I thought I would make a video on like the optimal settings to max out your FPS and visuals in this game. One thing to understand though is that you should not expect a high FPS count in this game, despite how it looks. This game looks like a mix between Roblox and Squad, I would say, but like with the blocky effects and like not looking as good as games like Battlefield, still don't expect large numbers, especially if you play the 127 versus 127 servers. I mean, in general, these large map servers, like of course in a shooting range, you're gonna get like 700 FPS, but like in these actual servers, there are a lot of players in them, right? Each player playing their own game, and the server has to account for that. So don't expect to have a lot of FPS. Like myself, I have an i7 12700K and a 6800 XT, and like I pump out like 160 frames average. When a lot of stuff's going on. Of course, I have like 230 um, when I'm not doing a lot, but when there's a bunch of stuff going on, my FPS drops. So I mean that's normal though because everyone's doing their own thing, and the server has to account for that. So let's go over the settings. I'm just gonna focus on video here, since everything else doesn't really affect your FPS and or visual uh, qualities. So there are different presets you can select. I'll just go custom. I mean, unless you're too lazy to do anything, presets are made for you. So custom resolution, I don't use it because you can just use what your monitor has. So I mean, if you're gonna set a custom resolution anyway, I wouldn't do it here because it's not gonna be display scaled. So I would just do it with CRU or NVIDIA control panel or AMD software, whatever you use. So don't check that unless you really want to play stretched. I just use 1920 by 1080. Exclusive full screen. I think people get confused with full screen window, but I think this is actually standing for full screen borderless, if you're familiar with that term from other games. So yeah, I would use exclusive full screen. Actually, well, there's a maximized window for option here. I really don't. I'm just pretty sure full screen exclusive is exclusive full screen. It's what it implies. So use exclusive full screen. I would use 100 screen scale. This is like so at 100 I'm getting full 1080p. If I move this up to like 200, maybe somewhere I'm getting like 1440p. I wouldn't do this unless like you're playing on 1080p, but you have a 4090 or something. Maybe do that, but I wouldn't mess with that. That would definitely bring your FPS down. I wouldn't use vertical sync. FreeSync, G-Sync, always use that. I made a whole video on that. Always FreeSync, no vertical sync. I put my FPS at 237 because since I'm using FreeSync, I want to set my FPS 3 frames below my max monitor's refresh rate. So that guarantees, no screen tearing or stutters. I keep my brightness at 100. Field of view, I had it at 120, but I felt like that was a bit overwhelming. I feel like this doesn't really do much with your FPS. I had the same around the same FPS playing with 120 and 100 FOV. So, I mean, obviously you'll see an increase in FPS if you lower it because the game renders less stuff, but it's not that like the magnitude. It's not that great. The delta's not significant. So I just play on 100. This is just personal preference. Vehicle FOV, I haven't even touched a vehicle yet, so I don't know. Screen shake, I keep it at 90 default. I mean, I don't notice anything wrong with that. Unless, you don't like that, you can just turn it down. Up to the CPU here. For graphics, I disable shadows. I never play with shadows on any game because, of course, it takes a toll on your CPU and you don't want that. Unless you really, want to max out the visual quality, then go ahead. Either way, if you turn it on, I would just keep shadows at the lowest resolutions because you're not going to be focusing on the shadows when you're playing. So much is going on already. I don't have anti-aliasing on unless you really don't like how the textures look. You can turn it on. Structure and quality, I keep it on low. I feel like anything higher is just like, especially when there's a lot of stuff going on, it just gets way too chaotic. I keep my LED quality at 250. I think it's default at 400, but 200 to 250. I'm just put it down to 200 now, just half it. You obviously don't need it too high, but yeah, that's that. I can't press apply. Number of lights, 4. Rain quality, I put it on low. I haven't even seen the rain yet, but I mean, I won't be paying attention to that. I put my render distance at the max, which is the default, I'm pretty sure. It's because, you know, I'm always going to value the ability to see an enemy before they see me, or they have the chance to see me over FPS or whatever. So I always want that advantage. I put my shader quality on low because I'm not really sure what this does, but pretty sure if you keep it on like high or something, oh, you can go on lowest too. But I'm pretty sure if it's anything high or epic, it's not going to be good for your FPS. Image effects, I keep motion blur off. You don't need it. VisionNet, I don't use that. ADS effect, I keep it on because I think that's the thing I find most interesting about this game. You know, and for me, like, this is gonna sound stupid, but for me, it kind of bridges that gap between Roblox and Battlefield. You know, this ADS effect. You know, although it's small, it's, you know, it's a little thing that really makes this game like, oh, it's, you know, it's $15, but it's not Roblox. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really just Roblox effects. You know, it's an actual game, just with a more blocky take to it. I keep these at default. Film grain intensity, I wouldn't turn this too high up, or your image is going to look very grainy. So, yeah, that's it. Just again, don't expect, like, you know, a constant like 500 FPS on this game just because it looks like Roblox. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and like, you should be good. If you have FreeSync or G-Sync, it shouldn't be that bad of an experience.